happy employee of that organization. The next reason I have here is it's also a reputational issue. So if as a company, my staff members know that their pay is scattered, it comes any day in any amount, then we are trying to resolve different issues. I might have that reputation of, oh, that company doesn't pay you until the next month or 2 months after. One thing that I've also experienced along this reputational issue is I had a time where I know of a company that made a payment to its consultants to help to remit to one of the government agencies. And this consultant never came back to it to ask, what is this for? And by the time the company was saying, oh, we need you to pay this to this body, but why didn't you ask all this while since you got the money? The consultant was like, hey, when this person was running your payroll, we know that it is normal every month where after we've gotten the payroll reports, we now have to have adjustments for mistakes outside the payroll. So we just know that it's a normal thing for your company to have different things outside what the payroll says. So having payroll errors, to us, we know that this is your practice, and that's not a good reputation. And the last thing I wanted to say around why we should get the payroll rights is payroll errors are actually quite costly. And I've dealt with this firsthand, so I can say that it is indeed costly. First off is you need to then start spending time to reconcile. So your payroll report says your tax is this amount, then you have a different amount being paid. And then you need to start trying to find out where did the error come from. Or it says your NHF is this amount. And then you have to spend time looking for what is missing. And then you also have to now start to spend time trying to address different issues. So that is wasted time in reconciliating or reconciling all of these issues. The next thing is for the HR team itself or the payroll team. All right, please give me a few seconds. I'm working from home. I need to quickly attend to something. Just a few seconds, please.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Ebenezer. All right. So while Ebenezer is away, so far he has spoken about his journey, payroll, remittance, and I like that he particularly mentioned that payroll errors are really, really costly. I don't know if there's anybody here that has an experience that just wants to quickly talk about it while Ebenezer is away. If you've had an experience where, there was a little mistake, an error in the payroll or a delay or something, and you like to just talk about the experience, you can drop it in the chats box or send it to me privately. If you like to be anonymous, yes, you can just send it to just me alone from the chat box, or you can drop it in the chat. I have a story, but I think that this one is more around a payroll delay. A friend's compensation was delayed for, I think, about almost 10 days after everybody else had gotten paid. And they kept saying, see, this is the day that I'm not going to show up to work because I don't have money to go to work. And we all know what that means when the people who, make the work don't show up to work. The work stops, the work is delayed, the work drags, productivity is slow, and that affects business goals, right? So I personally think it's a ripple effect. One thing makes the other possible, and ultimately we're here to, make money for the business, right? And also go home happy and fulfilled. So I also agree with Ebenezer that payroll errors are very, very costly. Please, can you mute?
I can't seem to hear Erica. Anybody else hear her?
Can anyone hear me?
Now I can.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, you can.
Okay, so I'm just going to take the house rules again. Please and please, there are about 40 people in attendance, and I can imagine if everybody's mic is unmuted and there's, a lot of background noise, it won't be a very pleasant experience. So we appeal kindly to ensure that your mic is muted. If you have a question, a contribution, please put up your hands. You can find the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen, or you can just drop a chat or send it to me privately. Thank you so much as we comply.
Okay,
Eben,
thank you,
back.
Ore. Thank you for that. Yes, thank you for sharing that experience as well. I think I actually didn't show my video because I had some scares about my network, and I think it was mine that went off earlier. So do I have your permission to continue?
Yes, please. Yes, you do.
Awesome. So I was talking about the cost of payroll errors and how time that the HR team or the payroll team can spend adding value to the business can go into looking for sources of mistakes that need to be corrected. And personally, I'm actually in one of these journeys where I'm trying to find out what happened in 2 or 3 years before the current month, and so that I can report to the authorities on those things. I can spend that time doing other things that add value to my employer who is paying for that time. One critical part is also the penalties and expenses that come with making errors. In my past life, I mentioned being, working around compensation compliance. And what I found is, for example, if you don't pay your ITF correctly, the penalty by the time the ITF checks your records is 5% for every month that default goes on. So that means if your ITF is supposed to be 10 million, but you paid 9, in theory, you're only owing 1 million naira. But then if the ITF comes to check your records 2 years after that payment was due, that's an extra 50K for 24 months. That's 1.2 million. So you're only owing 1 million, but you're paying 2.22 million because of the penalties that come with that. So now imagine if they're coming to check your records 4 or 5 years after that payment was due, and you could be paying 5 or 6 times of what the principal is as penalty. From a tax perspective, pay as you earn, the tax authorities will actually charge you whatever tax you did not pay, along with a penalty and also interest. So you can imagine paying a 30% penalty for failing to pay the right amount of tax, and you're not having to pay interest every year at the prevailing commercial rate because of what you could have gotten right. So the summary is that there are a lot of costs that come with not getting your payroll right, and that could be wasted time that leads to loss of value for the company. It could also be funds that could go into other aspects of the company, say marketing, being given to government as penalties or interests on payments that were not made correctly. So the last part of this, which is how how automation can help you to avoid all of this. Number one is your payroll can literally run itself. You could be somewhere, having a nap, or you could be doing other things, and your payroll just runs itself and just sends you a report or prompts you to review what it's done and just approve that process. So it's time saved, a lot of it. You would agree with me that with the advent of artificial intelligence now, things that you probably come up with in 12 hours, you probably get in 12 seconds. So just imagine the speed at which an automated HR system would run your payroll as against you having to start to review formulas one by one, person by person, doing month-on-month comparison, all of those things. That can literally take you days to run. Your system would do while you are doing other things, and you just get to review and maybe just click a few buttons and payroll is done. The second is you can also do without avoidable human errors. In one of my previous experiences as well, I've had somebody send an entire payroll report on Excel by mistake to a person that should not have access to payroll. So let's say you're sending the payroll reports to the finance manager who's supposed to maybe disburse the salaries if you have a manual process, or the report is being sent to your superior to review and approve. And this person's name is, let's say, Dudu. So
Can anyone else hear Ebenezer? It dropped off at my end.
No, please.
At all.
Oh, right. Okay. I suppose his internet dropped him off. Okay. All right. So I back to what we're talking about. If you've ever had any experience, you know, or you know of a story of an instance where someone made a costly payroll error, please feel free to share with us or send it to me privately in the chat. Okay, Ebenezer is back. We can still talk about it. Or if you have experience running automated remittances and how it has helped you specifically, please also feel free to put that in the chat box to just buttress what we're talking about today and why it is important that HR managers embrace automated remittances. So Ebenezer, thank you. You're back. I can see that you're back. Please confirm that you're good to go.
yes, I'm good to go. And let's hope it's the last time that happens. I've actually switched my ISP. Yes, one of the benefits of where we are working from in this part of the world. So I was talking about avoidable human errors, and somebody that actually sent an entire payroll report to somebody that should not have access to payroll. So it's like sending the entire company's payroll from the highest person to the lowest person to one of the junior staffs in the company. I'm sure that would be a big deal if it happens in your business. And if it happened to you, probably understand the ramification of that. So with a system that automates your payroll, you would not have that happen. It would be as easy as you've run the payroll, and you just prompt whoever needs to go to the system to approve it, or even the system might be the one to prompt them. But you can be sure that the system will follow whatever logic has been put in place, and you won't have somebody who should not have access to the payroll receiving the entire payroll report. And the other part is data protection as well, which ties to my last example. And that's around people who should not have access to certain details, would not have it if you have a system that follows the logic you've set and automates the payroll processing, the approvals, the disbursements, which I'm coming to next around prompt and accurate remittances. Of course, part of an automatic payroll process is the disbursements as well, where as HR or the payroll team, we just click a button and people receive their salaries in their bank accounts. With this, you can be rest assured that you won't mistakenly send somebody's salary to someone else, or you won't mistakenly send your CEO salary to one of the associates in the business. And that also speaks to the timeliness of it as well. With payroll being run pretty fast, with approvals being gotten correctly, you can be sure that if you say your payroll date is 25th, that is more likely to happen in an automated system versus when you might have human errors that need to be corrected before you now go back and do disbursements. And that's if you're lucky to have caught the human errors before you disburse. You might have disbursed, then you now get people coming to complain to you that, oh, my salary should be 150, I've only received 75. What happened? Then you begin to investigate before you find what happens. So with an automated payroll system, you can pay promptly and pay accurately. I've also mentioned the time savings that come with this. So I'll move on to the sixth point around scaling at ease. So you are a growing company today, you have just 40 people, you have 50, and it's easy to run the payroll in a few hours or in a couple of days or in one day. So what happens when you become 200 people or 500 or 1,000? But if you automate that system now, what happens is when it's time to run the payroll, the system does all of the work for you in terms of adding new people based on your HRIS integrations, in terms of removing people who probably have left the company in the period, in terms of people that have maybe extra payments like leave allowance. So basically, your payroll can grow from 50 to 500, and you wouldn't need to spend extra time working on running your payroll because you've set the rules, you've set the constraints, and the system just takes that and remits them for you. And the last thing is where I began
Hanya
from,
bandi
around
I'm not
how
showing it out.
um
Yeah.
Ibrahim, I think you should mute. Thank you. So where I began from, around how it's around legal and regulatory compliance when it comes to payroll matters. And people don't joke with their money. If you don't pay my pension, it is my future. I will gladly report you to Pencom because you are joking with my future. And there's a law that says you must. So we began by saying that why you should get our pay rights around legal and regulatory compliance requirements. And I will also end by saying that automating your payroll makes you more likely to comply with those requirements. You're paying the right amounts, you're paying at the right time to the right body or to the right states. And the likelihood of having to incur additional costs, additional expenses, or spending time on what you can do, on time that you can spend doing other things of value for your business, going into payroll errors is completely eliminated. So that's it from me. Like I said, just 2 slides on why you should get your payroll right and the benefits of automation. But before I hand over back to Ore and Oyin, I would like to speak a little about what we do at Cowrywise, maybe in just 2 or 3 sentences. Cowrywise is an SEC licensed fund manager, and I would say our mission is twofold. And that's around one is we want to enlighten the public on what it means to have finance knowledge or know how the financial market works or how to build sustainable wealth. And the second part is having done that, let's give people a platform where they can now put that knowledge to use through savings, through investments in different instruments that are available on the platform. So on that note, if you want to know more about Cowrywise, you can go to our website. We have a blog where you can learn a lot about the financial market and how it works. And of course, you can put it to use by downloading our app or using Cowrywise on the website. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ore.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ebenezer. It was pretty short and straight to the point, how we like to do it. There's a question here in the chat box that I'm going to read out shortly, but also just to, go over what we have planned for the rest of the workshop. So after the Q&A, my colleague Oyin from Pade is going to be coming up to talk about and doing a live walkthrough of how we help you automate your remittances on our platform. So right after that, we'll then be going into the breakout rooms where we'll have a payroll consultation. So if you have questions about automated payroll or about paid, there's an expert in the breakout room who will be attending to you, and you don't have to worry. It's a free consultation for this workshop, which is one of the perks you get for attending this workshop. Outside of this workshop, we'll have to talk about that. So yes, a free consultation for payroll. And the second breakout room is where we can then talk more about automated remittance. So when Oyin is done and you have questions based off of what you've seen on your screen, in that breakout room, Oyin will be available to explain more. Yeah, so back to the chat. I can see a question from Presh. And it says, does the law apply if the organization doesn't deduct the pension at all? Ebenezer.
Okay, does the law apply if you don't deduct pension at all? I would say the pension law gives a minimum number of people that you need to have as employees before you are required to compulsorily remit pension for them. I think the number is three. I'm not sure. There was a bit of a confusion then when the law came out, whether it was three, whether it was 15. Okay, somebody said the minimum is five, right? So if you don't have up to that number, then it means you do not need to compulsorily remit pension for your staff, but then you can choose to. Right. The other part is there's also the micro pension scheme where people in this category can decide to voluntarily remit pension. But then the answer is once you meet the threshold, whether it's three, whether it's 15. I think I choose to safely go with three because maybe there was an error when the law was being drafted, but I go with the minimum number just to keep it safe to remit. The other part is if you meet that and you do not remit, one day you can be sure that PENCOM will come for that organization. And PENCOM, that's the National Pension Commission, does not joke. Whatever you should remit that you haven't remitted, you will be forced to go back to when it fell due. So let's assume I've been in operation for like 3 years. I have 20 staff and I've not been remitting. I'll have to go back and PENCOM will calculate the pension for each of those months and calculate the interest they would have earned if that money was being invested by their PFA, and now force the company to make both the principal and the interest payments to those people's PFA. So it's just safer to start to remit as soon as you meet the threshold.
All right, all right. Presh, I hope that answers your question. If it does, please do us a thumbs up so we know that we're good to go. I also have another question here for you, Ebenezer, but the person will prefer to remain anonymous. The question is, a scenario where an employee pay an employer, Vivika, please mute yourself. Thank you so much. A scenario where an employer doesn't pay an employee for a particular month because of the unpaid leave or absence. In this situation, is the company expected to remit payee and pensions for the employee for that month? I'm just going to copy and paste it in the general chat so that you can refer to it. I'm just going to
Okay, I think I got the question. So if somebody did not earn income for a particular period while they are on unpaid leave, should we still expect deductions from them like pension and taxes? My answer would be no. And that's because the tax is being deducted from what the person has earned. The same way the pension as well is in two folds. The person would pay 8%, so which means the employer would remove 8% from what the person has earned and now add a further 10% minimum and pay the 18 to the government. So the basis is there is an 8%, then the company matches with 10. So if there is no principal or there's no basis to have those amounts removed from, then those liabilities do not fall due. So if there's no income, there's no tax. The same way there's no pension to be deducted because it's coming out of the earned income. Thank you.
Hi, Ebenezer. Thank you so much for that. I hope because because the person is trying to be anonymous, please just let me know privately if that is sufficient enough for you. Without further ado, I'm going to be calling up our dearest Oyin from Pade. Hi, Oyin.
Hi, or how you doing?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for joining us today. Earlier in the week, Oyin, was a bit down, health-wise, but I'm super glad that she's here with us. So please, let's put our hands together to welcome Oyin and encourage her.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys. All right. So, thank you, for the introduction. I'm just going to dive in. I really want to show you how Pade can help you do all of the things that Ebenezer has just told us about. So I will be sharing my screen. I just wanted everybody to see my fine face, but I'll stop sharing my video now and share my screen. All right. Okay. All right, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
Yes, I can.
All right, so I'm logging into Pade now. Let's make this bigger. All right. Okay, so this is my dashboard when I log into Pade, but I'll just be diving into what concerns us today. The first thing when you sign up on Pade and when you're setting up your account and you want to make sure that your taxes and your pension is automated is to set them up, right? So before you're even able to remit taxes for your employees, that's the pay as you earn, the payee, as well as pension, your company needs to be registered. That is, you need to have your company tax ID as well as your pension reference number. So you have to register with PENCOM, right? So on Pay, to make that automation easy, when you create your account, you're required to come here to set up your tax. This is a demonstration account, so the identification number might look strange. It's just for demo purposes. As well as your pension, you also put in your pension reference number just so that when we're remitting, we're sure that your company is registered with these bodies, right? The second thing that we the second thing that you do when you are automating your payroll is your people, right? Your people you want to pay payee for them. It means that they need to have their pension, their tax identification number, that's their TIN, as well as their RSA pins and their PFAs, that's their pension fund administrator, for example, Tangerine, and their TIN. So if I think it's very easy for LIRS, just go to the website, the employees can create their TIN by themselves. But if you're starting payroll and on this month, your employees have not created a TIN, you can still remit your taxes, right? So on Pade, you're able to just by coming to this part, you're able to edit their tax information, put in their tax ID there, and all of this will make sense as we go along this demonstration, right? So this is where you put in their TINs if they have one. If they don't have one, it's still fine. You remit your taxes in your organization name so that the regulatory bodies know that you're remitting tax. And whenever that employee has or have created their TIN, you can still come back here to update it, right? Secondly, I spoke about the pension. So we know, you have to have your PFAs and your TINs, right? So on Pade, you're also we've already uploaded all the pension administrators we have in Nigeria, right? And all you have to do is enroll the employees as whichever is applicable. For instance, if I'm about to enroll someone on this PFA, I would click on that and enroll them, right? Okay. Now, I'd like to go to pay grades. That's how do you even determine what that person's TIN or what that person's tax amount would be, as well as what that person's pension would be. Ebenezer spoke earlier and he said, according to law, the minimum that an employee can contribute for their pension is 8%, while the minimum the company can contribute on behalf of that employee is 10%, making 18%, right? So for instance, I'm going to edit this pay grade. We all know what pay grades are, we're HR professionals, and I'm just going to edit this pay grade, right? Now, the first thing that would happen is there are already people on this pay grade, so it's going to show up here. This is an already created pay grade, just to make sure that our time, Ori has warned me that I have 10 minutes, so I just want to make this as short as possible, whereby still passing out, explaining what you need to know. Okay, so the first thing we do is give the pay grade a name, obviously. If you have the gross amount you want to use, you can put that here. If you don't have the gross and you just have the net, also able to do that on paid. Now, would this pay grade pay tax, right? Someone asked a question before about what if a company is not deducting pension, right? Would there be any repercussions or any penalties, as well as tax, right? I'm not quite sure, but I want to go with the three minimum of if you have 3 employees, and you're not paying, you might not be paying tax yet, right? So you have the liberty or the flexibility to decide if this pay grade and the people on this pay grade will pay tax. You can say yes, or you can say no. Maybe you just have 2 employees and you're not paying taxes yet. For the purpose of this demonstration, I would say yes. Now, do you want to apply standard tax calculations? In Ebenezer's slides, they had mentioned how important it is. You get fined by LIRS or the IRS of the state that you are operating out of, right? So we have followed the FA20 standard tax calculations. That's the Financial Act of 2020, where there's been revisions on how to calculate taxes with the pay bands, right? So paid is using that. However, if you have a way of calculating tax, or maybe in your previous system, or when you do your calculations, it was different. On paid, you also have the flexibility of putting the said amount. However, we always advise that you use the standard tax calculations here. Very, very, we need to note that. Now, the next thing is to put in your allowances, right? You might have basic housing, transport, different allowances that you might have. They are the ones that are already populated for you, the default. You're also able to create other allowances that you have in your organization, right? So let me just select housing and transport. Now, you can always put in the percentages of these allowances and also say what schedule is going to be on. We already know if it's leave allowance or if it's 13th month, that comes at the end of the year and is not monthly. So you're able to do all of those configurations on paid, right? So I make housing 30% and schedule is monthly. I'll make transport 20, which will all amount to 100%, right? And so the next thing that you do is your statutory benefits. Now you have pension here. If you have life assurance, you can also, this organization does not pay any HIF, NSITF, but if you do that, you can create that as allowances and it will be populated here. So this organization is paying pension. We've already put in the standards here, 8 and 10, but you're able to edit it if you we've seen situations where some organizations would say that they want to pay the entire pension on behalf of their employees, right? And they don't want to deduct from their gross, from their salaries. Or maybe the company is saying that instead of 10, we would like to contribute 12, but the minimum is 8 and 10. Now you're also able to toggle in the allowances that make up that pension, right? And then the next slides will just show you how that your bottom line, everything that you've created, what that person will pay in pension as their own contribution to their pension, what their tax will be monthly, right? And what the company will be paying on behalf of the employee. That's, you see that in the annual basis, right? So this is what your pay grade looks like at the end of the day. Okay, so now we'll be going into payroll. right? So we've set up, we've created our TINs for our employees. We've uploaded their pension, their RSA pins and their PFAs. We've also created pay grids that make up our payroll, right? So we just want to show you what your pay schedule would look like, right? Your pay schedule would look like this. You run your payroll, and we're using March, that's this month. So let's see what your payments look like. Now, this payouts page is basically the what your employee is, what they are taking home. That's their net salary. So you have it broken down into different sections here. So these employees, this is their account number, how much they are going to get to their accounts, and I can always disburse the payment directly from my paid account. Now, when we go to taxes, right? When we're setting up, I mentioned about creating your company information, putting in your workplaces as well to get your tax offices. So this organization remits their taxes to Victoria Island Tax Office. On Pade, we have all the tax offices across the 36 states in Nigeria. So you're able to put that here. So this organization is paying the total amount of 56,000 to the Victoria Tax Office. You can always download a report, because I understand that as HR professionals with our work, we always want to document, we always want to have reports to back up what we are doing, right? So you see all of your employees, their designation, if we have created one for them, and their TINs. You see that these are the few employees that already have their TINs. You also see their remuneration, how much you're earning and how much you're paying for them in PE. Right, you can download this in CSV format. You also see your pay ID here that was created earlier when I started the presentation. So this is for taxes. You see that you don't need to, have your Excel sheet and start putting in numbers. It's already calculated for you, and you already have the reports to back that up, right? So I'm going to go back to your pension summary. Again, your pension is also going to be divided for you according to each PFA, each pension fund administrator. So you see that we have Tangerine, Oak, ARM, and Stanbic. These are the PFAs that the employees of these organizations are registered to. Now, we also have unspecified PFA. Maybe this particular employee has not yet given you their PFA yet, so there's no way you can remit for them because they don't have one yet. We always have that situation, but I know that as HR professionals, we help and speak to the employees to get that done. You're also able to download the report again. This is priority for us to build products that help that simplify the processes of the African worker and you as well. So it's broken down into each PFA, right? As for instance, Stanbic, these are all the employees on Stanbic, how much the employer is contributing, how much the employee is contributing. Voluntarily, sometimes the employee can say, take extra. I don't just want to do 8%, I want to do more. So that would also show up here if there's any employee that has the voluntary part. And then the total. We've also gone ahead to now, total it per PFA. So you see Stanbic, the total is this, ARM, the total is this, and this is all automated. I didn't have to do manually and every month say, okay, this is what goes to what, right? And then there's an overall total, so you know that this is the amount that you're paying in pension for that month, right? Ebenezer also mentioned some how soon you should pay or you should remit. He said pension 7 days, taxes the 10th of the next month, NHF within 1 month after. So at Pade, your pension, your taxes are remitted within 3 to 5 days of you paying that amount. So if you pay on the 25th, by the 28th of the month, your employees are already getting alerts that their pension has been paid, and they're also getting SMSs from LIRS or State IRS or whatever IRS, are already getting those notifications that their taxes has been remitted and their pension has been remitted. With their payroll, that's their pay that is sent to them directly. They get that within minutes, just the way a bank transfer would happen, right? So I've come to the end of my presentation, and yeah, I would yield the mic to Ore. Thank you very much for having me.
Hi, Oyin. Thank you so much. That was a really thorough one in such a short time. I'm sure there are people who have questions, but we're going to be taking them in the breakout room where Oyin would then, break it down better based on the specific questions that you have. If it's that there's something that she has spoken about while she was going through, the product, and you want her to explain better, this is a perfect time for us to get into all of that. So yes, at this time, I would say that we've come to the end of the product workshop. However, we'd like to hear from you before we go into the breakout room. We'd like to hear from you what you think, because feedback is very important for us here at Pade. So we'd like to hear what you think about this workshop. Was it worth your time? Do you think that it was, you gained new information and new knowledge that you can use in your day-to-day HR tasks? Yeah, so the poll will be coming up now. Okay, there's a question here. All right, good. So yes, the poll is up on our screens now. It takes less than 2 minutes to just, check the boxes that apply to you. So once we're done with the poll, we'll then go into the breakout room. If you think that you don't want any consultation on payroll, you're fine with everything Oyin has said, then it is okay to, leave the workshop. But if you'd like to know just a little bit more, if you're very curious and you know that you're tired of testing your math skills every month with payroll calculation, formula calculations, formula checks, and all of that, and your Excel sheet is, you're tired of your Excel sheet, I personally will advise that you wait behind to go into the breakout rooms. So yes, so let's give 1 more minute for the poll. No one has answered yet. All right, okay, it's coming in now. All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. Your feedback is very important so that we're able to do this even better. Thrive is the product workshop at Pade HCM that we bring up every quarter. So your feedback from this one for Q1 will help us design a better workshop experience for you. I mean, I would like to see you at the end of Q2 again, for you or for other HR professionals. So please kindly fill the poll. We have less than 30 seconds to close the poll. All right. Okay. All right. I think that we can take down the poll now and then open the breakout rooms. All right, so there's someone here asking, all right, so the breakout rooms are open. All right. All right, please join the room that pertains to you. If you're wondering where, just click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen. Please click on the 3 dots at the bottom of your screen. You see breakout rooms. Click on breakout rooms. Then you see the option. Okay, Abise, all right, thank you so much. Then you see the options for the different breakout rooms. Please let's ensure that we're, I can't hear myself. I wonder what's happening. Okay, so Gloria, when you look at the bottom of your screen, move your cursor to the bottom of your screen. You see 3 dots in a single line. Click on the 3 dots. Then you at the last option is breakout rooms. Click on that, and then you see the option to join the payroll consultation room. All right, all right. Thank you all so much. If you rather not join the breakout room, it's great. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your time today. Please do not forget that Pade is the go-to HR solution for all your HR challenges and processes. At Pade, you can manage all your people matters, the information, onboarding, unpaid. You can pay your people unpaid. You can offer employee benefits such as loans, salary advances, and end wage access. Yes, so based off of the situation of the economy these days, it's very important that we begin to think outside of the box of how we can retain, the excitement and the happiness of our employees for better productivity. And end wage access is a pretty good solution for that, where they can access their money, their salary before payday. And no, it is not a loan. It is not a loan, it is not salary advance, and it does not disrupt your payroll schedule. So yes, you can check us out on our website at paidhcm.com for all the information you need. If you also like to know more, remember the breakout rooms are here for you. We have the payroll consultation room. We also have the everything tax and pension remittances. Thank you all so much. It's been a wonderful time. And I want to say thank you so much to Ebenezer for joining us, taking out time to be here today. All right. I see that the payroll room is going on. All right. So hi everyone. If you just came out of a breakout room, it's fine to drop off the call now. The workshop has come to an end, and we really, really appreciate your participation on this workshop. Please look out for us next quarter. We'll be sending you an invite. And in fact, we will be talking to you way before the quarter ends on other things that we have in store for you. Our social media is very fun and buzzy. Remember to follow us on Instagram at PaidHCM, where we have fun and talk more about people, culture, remittances, and payroll, and how that relates to our everyday work life. Thank you all so much, and see you soon. Let me quickly check on the other breakout room. All right. Hi, everyone. If you're just coming out of a breakout room, I want to say thank you for joining us and staying with us up till now. We've come to the end of the session, so please feel free to leave. Before you leave, kindly follow us on social media where we have all the fun. Maybe we're a bit serious here today, but on socials, we're even more fun. And, we talk more about HR professionals, the workplace, employees, the Nigerian economy, and our pay. Yeah, so also please follow us on LinkedIn, same handle everywhere, Paid HCM. You can also check our website at paidhcm.com. Thank you all so much for your time today. It's been an awesome time. Emmanuel, Abisoye, Tumishe, Stephanie, thank you all. And have a great Wednesday. Bye. Bye, Tumishe.